IVM.
Good morning, good afternoon and good evening. Welcome back to Heal and Hearty, and I am here again, your host and health coach Rachna Chhachhi, not Chachi. I treat lifestyle diseases, as you know, and cancer and autoimmune conditions across 25 countries. And I am extremely overwhelmed with your inbox messages on my Instagram, your tweets to me, and your emails to me, especially the episode on cancer. It was touching to read about your journeys with yourself, your loved ones, and the battles you fought with cancer. I hope that the information I shared with all of you will help you overcome this deadly and painful disease. Today, we have a topic that is actually directly related to cancer. We are going to talk about organic foods. Organic, you say, and cancer? Yes, absolutely. The cancer of the body and the cancer of the earth. Both of them are linked to consuming organic foods. With the rising cases of cancer around us, and yes, in India, they have risen by 300%. And the state of our environment, don't you see the link? We and the earth are weak because pesticides are eating into our body, into our environment and the earth. And then a vicious cycle of corrosion and disease begins when we eat foods laden with pesticides and chemicals. And these pesticides and chemicals seep into our soil, corroding the earth that gives us our food and the water we drink. Then this same water goes into our rivers, our seas, destroying the marine life, the sea vegetables, and the fish we eat. And through those, the same chemicals and pesticides come back on our plate. Anywhere we go, we cannot get rid of them unless we start eating organic food. So what do organic foods do? Firstly, they help us cleanse our bodies from the chemicals and pesticides. Second, when we choose organic, we are actually giving the farmers a chance to produce natural foods without chemicals so that we can save the earth. We know that there are cancer belts across the country and farmers are prone to cancer much more because of their close association to chemicals and pesticides. Farmers can also reduce their rate of poverty if our demand for organic foods increases when they directly sell from farm to market, and there are angels like Kavita Mukhi who are making that happen across the country. And then we are also reducing the production of genetically modified foods when we choose organic. Genetically modified foods or GMOs can have long-term impact on the environment and us, and we don't even know if they are the ones that are triggering these mysterious diseases because there is no long-term data around them. But we do know that we are playing with the environment and nature, and the repercussions are going to be bad. Fourthly, certified organic products, which are higher priced in comparison to conventional foods, as most organic products are directly procured by companies excluding middlemen. So the price directly goes to the farmer and creates an organized supply chain. And finally, selfishly, organic fruits and vegetables have a much higher nutritional content and phytonutrients, those gems that actually help us fight cancer. With so many benefits, why are we still going on buying chemically laden foods? Okay, did you say we don't have enough options? You're right. And that is why I'm doing this special episode on organic foods, where I will help you seek out options. I'm joined on the other side of the break by Kurien Mathew, one of the founders of an organic company who started investing in this company even though he was an advertising professional. Why did he do that? And then I am joined by the wonderfully warm Jennifer Malik, the owner of an organic foods restaurant in Bandra West, Mumbai. And finally, we are honored to have the mother of the organic movement in India, Kavita Mukhi, with us. They will share with us all the opportunities you can have to purchase organic produce and stay healthy. So go grab your cup of green tea, and yes, you can get organic green tea too. And I will see you on the other side of the break.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep or lose weight or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
Hello and welcome back on this side of our special episode on organic foods and why we should be purchasing them, consuming them, growing them in our own homes. I have with me in my studio Kurien Mathew, who is the co-founder of TBWA Anthem. Since 1998, he has been in advertising. He's a very, very senior guy in advertising with 30 years of experience in MNC brands. He has also worked with brands like Nivea, Amul Chocolates, Sony, Bajaj Alliance, BPL Mobile, Yamaha, Fortis, etc., etc. Very, very long list. So what is an advertising guy doing with us in our special episode on organic foods? Welcome, Kurien.
Hello.
Kurien has invested in an organic foods company called Conscious Foods. You all know about Conscious Food. So, Kurien, advertising to investing your time, commitment, efforts in an organic food company when you could have invested in an apartment?
Well, actually it happened because of a friend of mine, Titu Aluwalia, who had bought this company way back in 2003.
Okay.
And in 2008, when I sold my shares in TBWA and decided to exit the company, he told me, come and help me run Conscious Food.
Okay.
So, plus I've been naturally inclined towards sustainable, what's good for the environment. And I thought this was a good thing to do after more than a few decades in advertising.
So it was your way of giving back, right?
Well, I never thought of it lofty terms like that, but yeah, I thought it was a good thing to do because it was good for the planet, good for people, and generally, yeah, I think it's good to do good. So this was my little bit of trying to do good.
Very well said. Good to do good. Great. But, we're still in the nascent stages of organic consumption in India. As an advertising man, what do you feel? Where are we in the curve? What are the difficulties that you faced?
Well, if you really look at it as the larger population of this country, and, if you go back to 30, 40 years ago, we were a very organic country. Right. Because there was, the Green Revolution hadn't happened and we were not, using so much pesticides and stuff like that. But in the last 30, 40 years, a lot of the mass consumption of all kinds of organic grains and everything else became started using pesticides and fertilizers,
commercialization of farmers and
so especially in large urban populations, you find that there is a section of the population that is moving back to, it's really going back to your basics and going back to organic, because they're discovering that the ill effects of having the non-organic food products.
Right.
So there's a movement back, but as you probably know, organic is a little more expensive than non-organic. So,
Actually, I have found that otherwise, but, we'll discuss that in a bit. You're talking about packaged organic foods being more expensive than the biscuits and stuff like that. But in terms of fruits and vegetables, I have found that, when I go to, and we live in Bandra and Mumbai, going to a supermarket to purchase it is actually more expensive than if I call gourmetdelight.in, which is, the place that I get my organic stuff from. And I find it's fresher and cheaper.
Is it cheaper?
It is cheaper.
Okay.
Than going to, not as cheap as some of the supermarkets, but definitely going to Pali Market.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a movement, but still has to kind of acquire that the kind of momentum it has in Europe or America.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah. What are the markets that you're spread in terms of West, East?
For Conscious
South?
Food, about 70% of our market is in Western India.
Okay.
As a company, we've never really pushed our product. We've always waited for people to come and ask us, for a product before we gave it to them.
Why is that?
I don't know. The DNA of the company has been, when the founder started the company, she was actually doing it only for family and friends.
Okay.
And then after T2 bought it, it was again with the same philosophy. Okay. It was not meant to be for profit. It was meant to serve a cause. from the farmer down to the customer. And I think about 2-3 years ago we said, okay, this market seems to be gaining some traction, so maybe we should look at. So that's when we appointed some salespeople and some marketing people,
right?
And then we slowly expanded to Delhi.
Okay.
Now we are available in Delhi. We are available in 2 big chains, which is Godrej Nature's Basket and Food Hall.
Okay.
And as a result, we are also in Bangalore. But now we are looking at expanding the market to other cities as well.
So is there a difference in adapting from a consumer's perspective between 2 years ago and today, since you've been with them for long?
Sorry, I didn't understand that.
Adapting to purchasing of organic products from 2 years ago to now, is there a difference, a shift that you're seeing?
So, yes, there are two. I mean, we've been growing at at a very steady pace, over the last 5 years. And if you just look at the number of brands that have come into the market over the last 2-3 years,
right,
that's a definite indication of people. I mean, obviously more brands won't come into the market unless there is a demand or there is a perceived demand for organic products.
Right.
So the more cluttered a market gets, it means that there is a latent
demand.
Yes, that needs to be fulfilled.
That's great. That's great. And is it now easier for you to scale up because investment is available more easily?
Yeah, we've had offers from a lot of private equity players to come in and invest in the company and ramp up our operations.
Okay.
But so far we kind of stayed away from it because when private equity gets into your company, then it's all about rushing and trying to get to the next goal and stuff like that, which goes against that whole organic philosophy of
right.
taking things slow and deep breaths and
which is what we were doing at the beginning of the show.
So yes. But we're open to conversations. We are having conversations, but we haven't.
So you would be open to an investor, an impact investor who actually doesn't want to walk all over the team in terms of the philosophy.
Yeah, somebody who kind of you have to resonate with the value system that the company has, and and then it's not growth just for the sake of growing. I mean, as a company, we don't discount at all.
I have experienced that.
Yes, so we believe in delivering on quality, not on price.
Yes.
And as a result, over the last more than 20 years as the company's been around, we have a base of very loyal customers who kind of come back again and again for our products.
That's wonderful. That's great. Is there a difference in consumption patterns, say, between a Delhi and a Bombay?
Not that much, though. I think, the South Bombay and South Delhi crowds, would probably, be in more...
Prefer to eat clean.
Eat clean, eat organic. Okay.
That could also be because of the economic strata?
That's right.
And educational background.
And, exposure to whatever is trending in the West also is a factor.
Okay. Well, whatever works, as long as they're eating clean, and that's what works. So from here, what? Are you looking at large-scale operations? Are you looking at a national footprint network? From here, what for Conscious Food?
Right now, like I said, 70% of our sales comes from Bombay.
Right.
We're looking at expanding into other markets like Delhi, Bangalore, Chennai, even places like Hyderabad, Cochin, and places like that.
Right.
So, yeah, we will go about it steadily.
Okay. And you yourself,
as we have, for these last so many years.
And you yourself consume organic products, fresh organic as well as conscious food?
Yes, absolutely.
So have you found a shift in the family's health or your health after you started the...
So usually, I've noticed that, in most families, the shift to organic happens when there's an incident concerning your health that happens in the family.
That's right.
It might happen to a parent, it might happen to your spouse, it might happen to... So I think we adopted organic about 10 years ago when I got involved with Conscious Food in a very wholehearted way. We were buying organic stuff otherwise, but more intermittently.
Right.
And after I got involved with Conscious Food, we started adopting it almost, all our groceries were. And about 4-5 years ago, we moved to fresh produce also into organic.
Okay.
And then about 6 years ago, my wife was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Okay.
So that was another added
Reason.
impetus to go fully organic.
Right. And thanks to your clean eating, I do know that your wife is doing well, touch wood, and everything is fine.
Yes, touch wood,
and
yes, thank you.
She's a lovely shining star. And do your children resist it or,
Not at all. I mean, in fact, my daughter is also, she's 29 now, so she's also a highly organically inclined person.
Great. It is, basically this entire thing is going to benefit their generation much
Yes.
more, including the sustainability factor of being good for the earth. So great. Give us one message that you would like to give to the listeners on why they should move to organic foods.
Well, it definitely, you can begin to feel the difference, within a few weeks of, moving to, it's not just organic, but it's also generally eating healthy.
Right. So tangibly, that would be like freshness or better digestion. What is the difference you felt?
Well, it is you wake up feeling better.
Right.
Your digestion is better. You feel that you feel lighter.
Right.
Okay.
So did you lose any weight after moving to organic?
Well, personally, I have not really had any weight issues, so I'm fortunate that way.
Right.
But my wife also turned vegan, and she's organic and vegan.
Okay.
And she can't stop talking about how it has kind of changed her
life.
Yeah, sense of being.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so much, Kurien. We hope to have Anju on our show, your wife, at some point. She would be an inspiration to many.
Sure.
Thank you for sparing time to come to the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey everybody, welcome to another amazing week on the IVF Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, you know what? I'm tired of asking you to follow us. This time I expect you to follow us. Please make sure you follow us. If you're not following us, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Seriously, I'm sure many of you would like that, but that's the only threat I have. We'd also like to thank our sponsors of the network this week. Thank you, Storytel. Thank you, Intel. We're really grateful for your support. On Advertising is Dead, Varun is joined by none other than Ranveer Alabadia, better known as Beer Biceps in the digital space, also the host of our short-lived podcast, Hustle Science. On Paisa Vaisa, Anupam is joined by Ashutosh Shrotriya, business head at Religare Insurance Company. They talk about health insurance and how to choose a good insurance plan. On the Empowering series, Zarina is joined by Ambar Qureshi, founder of the Plum Tree and former plus-size model. They talk about body positivity, self-belief, and the idea behind starting her own clothing venture. On Paperback, Rachita and Satyajit talk to Gyan Nagpal, the author of The Future Ready Organization. They discuss the new strategies that can make every element of an organization productive and how we can break the hierarchical structures within. On Heal and Hearty, Rachna is joined by two working professionals, Navaneel Kar and Manvi Pathak, who talk about how to maintain a work-life balance and a healthy lifestyle. On our Kannada podcast, Thale Harate, Rohit Shenoy sits down with Ganesh Chakravarti and Pawan Srinath to talk about primary education in India and Karnataka. This week on Edges and Sledges, Ashwin, Varun and DJ talk about the India versus Bangladesh first day night test at Eden Gardens. On Golgappa with Trupti Khamkar, Trupti is joined by Indrajit More, content creator at Bharipa and Bhatupa, who gives tricks and tips to travel on a shoestring budget. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik is joined by angel investor, business and strategist Lloyd Matthias. Lloyd talks about the technological entrepreneurship space in India, things to look for potential investments, and how brands should be transparent with their communications in order to create a strong identity. On Mr. and Mrs. Binge Watch, Janice and Anirudh talk about the highly rated show this year, Succession. On 9XM Soundcast, Eva is in conversation with Bollywood singer Palak Muchal. She has lent her voice to movies like MS Dhoni, Ashiki 2 and Prem Ratan Dhan Payo. And with that, let's get you on with your show.
Welcome back and hope you have grabbed your green tea because we have someone very, very special in our studio today. Please welcome Jennifer Malik. Hello, Jennifer.
Hi.
Listeners, a lot of you will know her. She's our little celebrity here. Jennifer owns and is the founder of The Village Shop, which is an organic restaurant in Bandra West in Mumbai. She is also the founder of Bird Song, which is also in Bandra West, Mumbai. And the Bird Song was her first venture as a restaurant as a partner, after which she moved to start her full-fledged restaurant with her husband, Javed Malik. And it's an extremely popular eatery across Bandra, and people come from town and the suburbs to eat here. So Jennifer, so why the long road? Why not a regular rocking restaurant and why an organic restaurant?
So when I set out, I'm a big believer of health. and I didn't want to make any compromise where ingredients were concerned.
Okay.
Whereas I saw there were many restaurants, many cake makers using standard ingredients,
Right.
which I didn't quite approve of. So when I walked into Kavita Mukhi's farmers market, I was like, this is the place where I can really use my ingredients, and I was surprised that it just took off. It was like I was sold out like within 1 hour the first time. And my business continued using good ingredients, my organic ingredients. So one thing led to another. I started my first cafe called Birdsong, and then went on to start the village shop.
Right.
So it is pretty fulfilling that,
Yeah, I'm sure. I go there and there's hardly any place to sit. And listeners, those of you who don't know, Jennifer is also a fellow autoimmune warrior like me. She has rheumatoid arthritis, and with the constraints and the pain levels and the unpredictability of flare-ups, this passion completely drives her and consumes her. I think it really consumes you, right?
It's like mind over matter.
Oh, yes, completely, yeah.
Of course, the organic food also has helped a lot. So
I'm sure. Yes. So tell me, how difficult was it to source all your items as organic? Are they all organic on the menu?
90-95% yes.
Okay, that's amazing.
And considering our availability, initially it was a little hard.
Okay.
But now it's become much better, considering how aware people have become about organic. This is encouragement to the farmers to grow organic.
Right.
And I would say so the availability has increased for us.
Yeah.
My second cafe, it's been a bit easier, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about that special thing called taste, which people come to a restaurant for? How is that different between non-organic items and organic items?
Yeah, there's a misconception outside that organic is not tasty. But tell me that if your ingredients mixed with chemicals, which would be tastier, ingredients without chemicals or ingredients with chemicals?
Oh yeah, totally without chemicals.
And the proof lies in the pudding, as they say, that once they taste it, they are like, oh wow, it's not so bad after all. And I think that's how it's gained popularity as well. One is the taste, one is the health connected with it.
Right.
So, yeah.
And are your dishes higher priced than a similar dish in a regular restaurant because of the sourcing of the organic, or are you able to manage the pricing?
Like if you see, the ingredient cost is a little higher,
right.
But then we try to keep it on par with regular restaurants and take a little setback where our profits are concerned. But as long as it works well with my conscience, that I'm not feeding people substandard stuff or feeding chemicals. So that makes me happier, and that's what I'm here for.
That's so wonderful. So you'd rather have a smaller chunk of profit and sleep better at night.
True, of course.
That's great. So you must be having a really loyal base of customers.
Oh yes, we do. Touch wood, we do.
Okay.
It's only growing. That's what I would say. And I'm happy to see the growth. Like 2011, when I started with Electra's Organic Bakery, making cakes from home, to Birdsong to now, it's only grown, and that makes me really happy.
Wonderful. So when you started baking cakes from home, were they also organic?
Yes, they were organic. I saw this place when I'd gone to Kavita Mukhi's farmers market. And I go to Kavita and I say, Kavita, I want to have a stall here. And she's like, why not? Then she said, what do you use for your ingredients? I said, I use maida, sugar, eggs, butter. She's like, no, I'm sorry, you cannot use maida. You cannot use sugar. You cannot use, you need to use organic butter. So she actually caught my hand and led me
Wow.
From the non-organic to the organic. And there's been no looking back ever since.
Yeah, it's wonderful to have somebody like her hold your hand through this journey. Listeners, we are going to get her into the show in just a bit. So Kavita has helped a lot of organic companies and organic restaurants and shops. And the farmers market, which is there on Sundays in Bandra, is actually extremely popular.
True.
And people from all across Mumbai come for it, not just people from Bandra West.
True.
Right.
Like, we get most of our ingredients from the farmers market, Kavita's farmers market, because I just know that everything is organic there.
Right. So the farmers come from across Maharashtra? Nasik.
Mostly from Nasik, yes.
Okay. And how do they tackle things like bugs and, because the normal thing is that you use pesticides for your crop not to go bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, have they ever discussed anything?
There are lots of herbal pesticides, I would say, which are chemical-free pesticides.
Right.
And Kavita's really guided them.
Okay.
Handheld them. There are many other farmers, agriculturists, scientists who have assisted farmers into being chemical-free by developing pesticides which are not harmful, neither for the plant, neither for the soil, neither for the person consuming it. So
it's good for the earth, it's good for us.
So it's hats off to these people who have taken the effort to do all this.
And the farmers directly sell here, which also means that their profitability is slightly higher.
So the middleman is cut off, and we get our ingredients at almost the same price as normal vegetables outside.
Wonderful. That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Tell me, Jennifer, you've been doing this for some time now and you have seen the proof of the pudding, so to say. What is that one single message that you have for the listener in why they should turn to organic foods and convert?
One message that I would like to give them is your body doesn't understand chemicals. Avoid it as much as possible. Go for organic, be healthy, and be happy. That's what I would say.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for being with us here.
Thank you, Rachna.
Thank you. We are going to get in Kavita in just a bit.
Hi, my name is Anupam Gupta. I'm B50 on Twitter. I am the host of Paisa Vaisa, the show that talks money. On my show, I speak to experts from every field of money and finance, from stock markets, equities, debt funds, credit cards, life insurance, every possible area of money and finance that you can think of. We even did an episode on cryptocurrency. I've got fantastic guests from mutual funds to personal finance experts everywhere. Robo-advisory, startups, just name it, we've got it. At Paisa Vaisa, we help you make smart decisions about money. You work hard for money. Now make your money work hard for you. New episodes out every Monday, and you can listen to my show on the IVM Podcast app or any other podcasting app that you have.
You've spoken so much about Kavita, Jennifer, and we are so lucky to have Kavita Mukhi with us. Hello, Kavita.
Hi, Rachna. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Javed.
Hi.
So, Kavita, Jennifer just said that you are her organic mom. How do you feel?
I'm very happy to be her organic mom and more so Javed's organic mother-in-law.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, listeners, I'm sure you don't need an introduction to Kavita Mukhi. She is literally our organic evangelist, angel, crusader, and for the last 3 decades, she has been trying to and successfully has started converting people like us to organic food, benefits of organic food, sustainability of farmers, sustainability of the earth. She is literally the pioneer for the organic movement in India. Kavita, what brought this on?
So firstly, it didn't start with organic. It started with just whole foods, natural foods, unrefined foods. When I got conflicting advice for my son when he was born.
Okay.
So all well-meaning advice from family, friends, doctors, but it was so confusing and everybody said different things. And he was a colicky, cranky baby. My back was becoming weak at the age of 23, and I was thinking like, this is not on. I had an aunt tell me, I was living not in India, and I had an aunt tell me, oh, this is the way it is for women. You're meant to look after families and babies and suffer. And I thought, okay, there is something wrong with this theory. And that's when one started to think, write books fell into my hand. Then I studied nutrition and I realized how simple it was. And, one had just trusted the system.
Right.
Whether it was for childbirth or for breastfeeding or for feeding after breastfeeding. And I was really shocked to know how warped it all was, the information. And it was so difficult to find the right information. And there was no Google, and not that Google makes it much easier, but there was just no internet in those days. This is 37 years ago.
Wow.
So, yeah, almost 38 years ago now. So that's how I stumbled onto it, studied nutrition. But at that time, there was no word organic in the picture. And then when I started a health food shop in Bombay, before that, I had started a college called the Bombay College of Health and Nutrition. It was way back. It was one of the first things in nutrition that was happening in the city.
Okay.
When I started the shop after that, because it was too soon that even though we serviced quite a few students, we started a shop. And that time there was a group called NGO called Prakriti, and we invited Masanobu Fukuoka from Japan. And he came, he's one of the foremost natural farmers. He came, and that's when we understood about natural farming, and organic became kind of the buzzword for us at that point. And so my shop was converted from a health food shop into an organic shop. And then, meeting farmers and understanding the whole system. So that's where it all began with Masanobu Fukuoka, who's written a fabulous book called One Straw Revolution, which everybody needs to read it, even if you're not into agriculture and farming, because it's also about, like he talks about the soil. If you replace the word soil for body, it just reads like a fabulous book on natural philosophy.
Wow, wonderful. So listeners, please, after this podcast, go and pick up this book. Our listeners,
yes, and you'll get it at the farmers market.
On Sunday.
You will get it at the farmers market.
Kavita Mukhi's farmers market.
Yes. Yeah. So Kavita, tell our listeners, you are the best person to guide them on the benefits of organic foods for them, for the earth, for the farmers.
I'm actually a little fed up of after so many years having to explain to people the benefits of organic, because frankly, organic is a Western word that we have adapted here, but the whole world was organic to begin with.
Right.
India more so, with all our traditions, our ancient agriculture, Vedic farming. I mean, there's so much, and we were all organic until chemicals came into being, until we started to spray, until we started to think of a green revolution. There was actually already a plenty.
Right.
And then pesticides were used, fertilizers were used, including urea, which people don't even think of as a chemical, but it is very much so. And yes, you had a boom in agriculture, but it started to make the soil acidic. There are big tracts even now in the Punjab that are completely acidic, Punjab, and you cannot use that land.
Yes, in fact, Punjab is the cancer capital of the country currently because of the overuse of pesticides.
Yeah, and there's a train that's actually called the Cancer Express that takes farmers to a cancer hospital. And it's so tragic. So, it's sad to have to, does it really still need explaining about why is organic good? We have to see how the other stuff is so dangerous for us. We need to label those things. So we need to stop worrying about labeling good stuff as organic and point out to the poisons and all the other foods, including people say fruits are good for you, but they're going around eating fruits that are pumped with chemicals. So how is that good for you? So it starts becoming negative. And that you're eating raw, you're not even cooking it. Not that cooking takes away anything.
Right.
But, the fact is you're just taking it, washing it and eating it, not realizing that because all these very, very plump, big fruits are all full of chemicals. Yes. And then you also feel a bit sick after eating this kind of stuff So you then don't always relate it to the chemicals in the fruit. You just feel, oh, I can't digest this, something wrong with this and that. Actually, it is chemicals. A lot of the things wrong with people today in their digestion and in their health is due to the chemicals they're eating. I mean, when you have milk, which is not organic, it's actually not even milk. It's reconstituted urea and other rubbish in it.
Right.
I mean, you can see now videos showing you what's happening. Recently, I saw a video of packets of milk being cut open into a drum and then organic bottles being filled with that. Dirty things called organic. They're not really organic, just that somebody's making a fool of somebody.
Yeah, unfortunately, there are things that people will do for money and stop at nothing. So that is the sad situation that we are in, Kavita. But, considering that you are the crusader for this and you're helping both the farmers and people get healthier, you must have faced a lot of difficulties, both from the lawmakers as well as from people who, need to adapt to organic. So tell us something about your difficulties.
Frankly, personally, there's been no difficulty because I was one of the first to put a label on organic. There were no certificates needed. There was no certifying agency, firstly.
Right.
So, if I said it was organic, if they want to believe it, they would believe it. But I wrote stories about the farmers. Every label of mine named the farmer, told you why he was doing organic. It wasn't just as a business. They all felt very deeply for the earth. So I'm actually not doing this for people or for the product. It's actually for the environment that one has to choose organic today. Others, we are like a dead world.
True.
With GMOs and hybrid seeds, we are just getting nowhere. And then, of course, forget about all that. Then you have 5G coming in. So if all that radiation and chemicals is not going to give us the cancers and all the problems that we have,
yes,
then what else is? I mean, this is the cause of everything. So until we decide to choose the right things, nothing is going to change. It's actually up to each individual. We cannot start pointing fingers at everybody.
No, so very input.
I've not had problems actually because everybody I've spoken to personally has understood and believed. But yes, you're right. There are many people who are friends of mine also are not buying organic. They find it cumbersome, they find it difficult, they feel their staff is eating most of the food anyways in larger quantities. They're eating out, but that's hardly a reason.
Right. So how do we overcome something like this? You've been in this, like you said, for 37 years. How do we overcome this first step and make it a mass movement and go back to how we used to grow our vegetables?
So frankly, it's being grown.
Right.
There are many farmers right now. They are unable to connect with the people who actually want it. I mean, the eventual dream is for everything to be organic and no differentiation. So nobody gets chemicals and everybody's eating safe food. But until then, I think it's the onus is on an individual to want it, to understand why they need it.
Right.
And not only because you've got a cancer that you should go for it, but unfortunately, that's the way it's happening.
Yes, I completely agree.
To avoid
and even
illnesses.
If it's for personal health, I still feel that's so shallow to just say, okay, I'm sick, I need organic. It's actually for the earth, for that land to go on producing for your children and your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. That land has to be fertile, and it will not be fertile unless the farmer stops using those chemicals. And that's for you to stop choosing the biggest and the fanciest of foods. To buy local, to start understanding and thinking what's happening. Everything you buy, even the toothpaste that you buy, eventually contributes to that manufacturer producing it at the cost of the environment, and eventually it damages you. No action goes without a reaction, as we all know.
Yes.
So we have to start thinking, look at the situation, look at the high temperatures, the floods, the droughts. I mean, it's all our doing.
Yes, completely. So you started the organic, the farmers market in Mumbai. Are there any plans to, turn it into a movement and move to other cities or other areas so that more and more farmers and people can benefit?
Yes, so unfortunately, we haven't been able to do many more. Forget other cities. We've not even been able to do a second decent one in Mumbai. But I have been busy with my personal life, and now I'm a little more free to do that. So we are looking at areas, and Mumbai is a difficult place to find people who will trust you with a space every week, even if you're paying for it. But the fact that you want it every week becomes an issue.
Right.
And BMC is not willing to give spaces for these social activities. So we are looking, and yes, we are hoping to have at least 5 more in the city.
Okay.
And then move on to other cities. But I think other cities, each city has its own. See, I'm in Mumbai, and Mumbai is my city, so I feel connected. I know the areas. So it's nice when other people in other cities take these jobs on, and people have, there are markets in other cities, and a lot of them have spoken to me, and it's a very simple model that I have my market based on. So I've shared it with them in like 2 minutes on the phone, and it's carried on, and there's many, many good things happening, and there are a lot of fabulous small groups of people, large groups of people doing beautiful work in India. So it always makes me just delighted to know all this is happening.
Tell us about this model so that the listeners can also be aware and there can be a difference on ground.
So basically one has to just look for space that's available at a decent price.
Okay.
You have to know how to advertise it. You have to connect with bunches of farmers that we can always connect people with.
Okay.
In their area, farmers who are organic.
Okay.
And you initially don't charge the farmer. Let them get used to coming, and then in a few years when they are steady, then you can charge them a small percentage to cover expenses. But the way you run the show to pay for tables and tables, chairs, gazebos, staff, internet and all that is you take on other vendors that are not farmers, that are companies, but you have to be sure that they are thoroughly organic.
Okay.
And you charge them for coming to the market. And that's how you pay your bills. It's so simple.
Wonderful.
And then you build it as a community. It's just such a simple model.
Yes, it is, Kavita. And I hope there are more and more listeners who will adapt to this. There are a lot of people that I can think of who have large enough spaces. And listeners, please write into me, tweet to me at Rachna Restores, inbox me on Instagram and tell me if you have space. Kavita can actually help us spread this organic movement much, much more, and you can be healthier, your kids can be healthier, you can avoid diseases like cancer and incurable conditions like autoimmune conditions, which are also now being linked to consumption of non-organic toxic foods. Thank you so much, Kavita. Thank you for all this. And you haven't heard the last of us. We are going to keep pestering you. So please do bear with us in the future as well.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Javed, for being here.
Thank you, Rachna.
Wow, that was one emotional episode. Every time I speak to Jennifer and Kavita, I'm amazed at their levels of commitment to procure organic foods, protect the farmers, and bring fresh organic produce to our kitchen and our table. I had announced in one of my episodes that we will be doing an organic episode, and of course, I have received a lot of questions on that. I'm taking a few of those here, very pertinent ones. Aditi from Bangalore writes, Rachna, it is easy for us to go to the local vegetable market and buy vegetables, but when we ask for organic, most people laugh and say that, oh, this is just a fad. Is it? Is it something that rich people do? My dear Aditi, organic foods is how we used to eat growing up. I'm from a middle-class family. My father was an army officer, and in every house that we lived, we had a kitchen garden in our backyard. We used to grow our own cauliflower, cabbage, tomatoes, spinach, watermelon, and we had a guava tree under which I used to sit and read a book. Those fruits and vegetables were nourished the natural way. The gardener or Mali Bhaiya would come and water them and then put manure as a fertilizer to nourish them so that they would grow well. You must be a lot younger than me, so you don't remember these things. That was organic food. It is not something that rich people eat, or it's not a fad. You can go organic, you can grow organic food in your own kitchen window. Did you know that? The benefits of having chemicals and pesticides-free foods are that you will reduce your risk of cancer, your immune system will be much stronger to fight diseases, and you will also get fewer coughs and colds. And yes, as Kavita has said earlier, you will also be helping the farmers. So don't listen to the people who think it is a fad. Make sure you make organic food available. And if it is not available, go and research on how you can do wall farming in your own house, in your own kitchen window, even if you have a tiny little apartment. You can easily grow lettuce, brahmi, coriander, aloe vera, mint, green chilies, and quite a few of the vegetables. Heck, I have 3 papaya trees in my tiny little window, and my Mali bhaiya was laughing and saying, "Idhar koi papaya ghar mein thodi karta hai." But you know why I have the papaya trees? Because when anybody has dengue, they need the papaya leaf juice to make sure that the platelet count does not decrease. And they run to my house. So do yourself and others a favor and start growing organic foods, which is the conventional way of growing fruits and vegetables right in your house. Vishal from Delhi writes, I live in a very, very polluted city. Even if I eat organic foods, the air I am breathing is so toxic. How is it going to make a difference to me if I make a switch? Vishal, the organic foods that you eat are actually going to start expelling the toxins from the chemicals in the air that you breathe in Delhi. The vitamin C and zinc and vitamin B's present in fresh organic produce are not only higher in quantity but also bioavailable. They start expelling all kinds of toxins and protecting your liver and kidneys from polluted air. With an air quality index above 500 many times of the year, you and your other people living in Delhi and NCR need organic foods much, much more. And with that, we come to a close for this episode. Our next episode is going to be on autoimmune conditions, very, very close to my heart. As you are all aware, I am an autoimmune warrior myself. I had rheumatoid arthritis 13 years ago, and 12 years ago I decided to throw away my medications and heal myself, and did what rheumatologists think is impossible. I reversed my disease clinically. Next week, I'm going to be joined by a very well-known immunologist and scientist and a very brave autoimmune warrior who is going to talk about fighting with her family of doctors to heal herself with physical and emotional nutrition. We also have the autoimmune walk coming up on December 14th in Mumbai, Bangalore and Chennai. So please make sure that you tune in so that you can be a part of the autoimmune walk to support the warriors who are struggling. If you are a warrior yourself, inbox me on my handle Rachna Restores on Instagram and I will guide you on how to be part of this walk. Till next week, munch on that organic carrot, sip on that organic green tea and put some organic honey to bring sweetness to your life, and then take a deep breath. I'm your host Rachna Chhachhi, signing off.
The modern world is obsessed with food and agriculture. Everywhere you look, new and exciting technologies are bringing food innovation to your street market, your grocery store, your doorstep, and your plate. From our quest for the perfect food photos to our rediscovery of ancient grains. Quite simply, food has never been sexier. But guess what? The modern food system is broken. It's a major cause of climate change, antibiotic resistance, and global poverty. So how did we get here, and where are we going? Most importantly, how are we going to feed 10 billion people globally by the year 2050 through better, more sustainable means? I'm Varun Deshpande.
And I'm Ramya Ramurthy. And we work for the Good Food Institute, a global non-profit accelerating the transformation to a more healthy, sustainable, and just food system. The next food revolution is here. On Feeding 10 Billion, we're giving you the inside view. You can tune into us every Tuesday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.
Hi guys, this is Ayushi.
And I am Ritasha.
And welcome to Agla Station Adulthood.
It's a fun podcast we've got going on and we'd love for you to tune in and enjoy with us.
Join us as we stop at various stations and discuss different topics that seem to be bothering us and hopefully
Dating,
you as well.
relationships, beauty, just being an adult, lots of different things.
We don't have a great grip on it, but we've done okay so far.
Catch Agla Station Adulthood every Thursday on the IVM app, the IVM website, or wherever else you get your podcasts.